My friends, when we talk about building a better world, we often look to the future. But the truth is, the future is already here. It's in our classrooms, our communities, our children. It's in the spark of curiosity in a young mind and the determination of a teenager who still dares to dream, even when the odds are stacked against them. Every generation is a reflection of what we invest in it, not only in money or resources, but in love, compassion, and guidance. Because the measure of our society will not be found in skyscrapers or statistics, but in the strength of the hearts we help shape. We cannot build bright futures on neglect or indifference. We must build them on care, the kind of care that listens before it lectures, that teaches not only success but significance. We must show our youth that success isn't about being better than someone else. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. When a young person feels seen, they begin to believe. When they are guided, they begin to grow. And when they are supported, they begin to soar. That's how we transform potential into purpose. By surrounding our youth with a community that believes in them even before they believe in themselves. It begins in our homes, where encouragement should be louder than criticism. It continues in our schools, where teachers light the path forward. And it thrives in our neighborhoods, where mentors and role models stand up and say, "You matter. You belong. You can do this." So let us not turn away from the responsibility of guidance. Let us not assume that someone else will step in. The work of shaping a young life belongs to all of us, and if we each take one small step, one act of kindness, one word of encouragement, one hand extended, we can ignite a chain of hope that reaches farther than we can imagine. Because when we build with compassion, we don't just raise successful youth, we raise resilient, empathetic, and courageous human beings. And that, my friends, is how we build a brighter tomorrow. The future does not begin decades from now. It begins right here, right now, in the minds and hearts of our young people. Every child who walks into a classroom carries within them an entire universe of possibility. Every teenager who dreams of doing something meaningful is already shaping the kind of world we will live in tomorrow. The future is not some distant horizon waiting for us to reach it. It is being built in every moment by those who are learning, growing, and discovering who they are. When we look at the youth of today, we are not looking at strangers to the future. We are looking at its architects. They will be the ones to write the next chapters of progress, innovation, justice, and peace. But their ability to build a brighter future depends on what we give them now, not just in opportunities, but in belief. Too often, we underestimate how much the confidence of one adult can mean to a young person. One teacher's encouragement, one parent's faith, one mentor's words, these become the invisible scaffolding upon which dreams take shape. If we treat our youth as problems to be managed instead of possibilities to be nurtured, we lose something profound. We lose creativity, compassion, and courage, the very forces that drive societies forward. But when we look at them and say, "You matter, you belong, you can make a difference," we are giving them the tools to imagine and build a better world. That's the kind of investment that yields the highest return, not in profit, but in purpose. We must remind ourselves that every great movement, every invention, every act of progress in history began with a young person who believed that things could be different. The next great leaders, scientists, artists, and visionaries are not somewhere far away. They are in our neighborhoods, our schools, our own homes, waiting for someone to see them, to guide them, to love them enough to help them grow. The responsibility we carry today is sacred. It's about more than preparing young people for jobs. It's about preparing them for life, to think critically, to act compassionately, to lead with integrity. When we nurture these qualities, we don't just ensure their success, we safeguard our collective future. Because the destiny of any nation, any community, is written not by those who cling to the past, but by those who prepare the young to create what's next. So when we speak of the future, let us not speak of it as if it's beyond our reach. The future is sitting in classrooms, playing in parks, asking questions at dinner tables. The future is growing up right before our eyes, and it is our duty, our privilege, to shape it with love, compassion, and unwavering belief. Compassion is not a soft skill. It is the soul of human progress. It is the invisible force that connects one heart to another, the quality that transforms ordinary individuals into extraordinary leaders, and the bridge that allows generations to understand one another. When we talk about building bright futures, compassion is the foundation upon which everything else stands. Without it, knowledge becomes cold, ambition becomes selfish, and success loses its meaning. With compassion, however, even the smallest act can echo across a lifetime. Every young person faces challenges that often remain unseen, silent struggles, fears, and doubts that shape the way they see the world. In such moments, compassion is the light that helps them find their way. When a child feels understood instead of judged, they begin to trust again. When a teenager feels heard instead of dismissed, they begin to open up. That is the quiet power of compassion. It heals without noise, teaches without lecture, and strengthens without force. It's through compassion that we create spaces where young minds feel safe to grow, to fail, and to try again. True compassion is not about pity or charity, it's about presence. It means showing up when it's inconvenient, listening when it would be easier to ignore, and believing in someone even when they've stopped believing in themselves. It's the teacher who stays after class to help a struggling student, the parent who forgives a mistake and replaces anger with patience, the coach who reminds their team that character matters more than trophies. These moments may seem small, but to a young person, they can mean everything. When compassion becomes a guiding principle, it transforms how we educate, how we lead, and how we live. It shifts the focus from competition to connection, from punishment to understanding. A compassionate society does not ask, "What can you achieve?" It asks, "Who can you become?" That question changes everything. It invites young people to see value not just in achievement, but in empathy, kindness, and contribution. It helps them understand that success is not about stepping on others to climb higher, but about lifting others as they rise. The most powerful leaders, thinkers, and innovators in history were not those who ruled through dominance, but those who inspired through compassion. They understood that to guide others, you must first care for them. When our youth learn that lesson, when they see compassion modeled in homes, schools, and communities, they begin to mirror it. And when a generation grows up guided by empathy, it doesn't just change individual lives, it changes the moral direction of society itself. Guidance is one of the most powerful gifts we can offer a young person. A steady hand that helps them find direction when the road ahead is uncertain. Every young individual carries within them a spark of potential, but that spark needs nurturing to become a steady flame. Guidance is not about control or imposing our paths upon them. It is about walking beside them, helping them discover who they are, and showing them that every step, even the missteps, can be part of their journey toward purpose. True guidance does not come from authority. It comes from authenticity. It comes from mentors, parents, teachers, and leaders who are willing to share not just their triumphs, but their struggles. When a young person sees someone they admire admit to failure, to doubt, to learning the hard way, they realize that success is not a straight line, They begin to understand that strength is not the absence of weakness, but the courage to rise above it. That kind of wisdom cannot be taught in books. It must be lived and then shared with compassion. When we guide our youth with empathy and trust, we give them something greater than advice. We give them belief. Belief that they can rise above their circumstances. Belief that they can create change. Belief that they are enough even when the world tells them they are not. That belief becomes the inner voice that carries them through life's hardest moments. A guided youth is an empowered youth. They learn not just to follow paths, but to create them. They discover that purpose is not something you find at the end of the road. It's something you build with every choice, every lesson, every act of courage. And when they finally stand tall, confident and ready to lead, they carry with them the guidance that once shaped them, ready to pass it on to the next generation. A community is far more than a group of people living in the same place. It is the living heartbeat of human connection, the web of relationships that holds individuals together and gives them the courage to keep moving forward. For young people, community is not just important, it is essential. It shapes how they see themselves, what they believe is possible, and how they respond to both success and failure. When a community stands behind its youth with faith, encouragement, and unity, it gives them something no individual effort ever could: the confidence that they are not alone in their journey. Every child, every teenager, every young adult needs to feel that they belong somewhere. Belonging is the soil in which confidence grows. When a young person looks around and sees people who care about them, who celebrate their achievements, who lift them up after a fall, they begin to believe in their own strength. Communities that invest in their youth are not just nurturing individuals, they are securing their own future. Every young person guided by a supportive community becomes a potential leader, innovator, or change maker. When that happens, the strength of the community multiplies. It becomes a cycle of empowerment. One generation lifting the next, and the next lifting another. Every young person carries within them a quiet hunger, the need to be seen, to be understood, and to be told that what they dream matters. In a world that moves quickly and often values results over relationships, the simple act of encouragement can seem small. But for someone searching for their place, that one word, that one gesture of belief can change the entire direction of their life. Encouragement is not about flattery, it's about recognition. It's about seeing potential where others might see imperfection. It's about noticing effort even when results are not yet visible. In times of struggle, encouragement acts as fuel for the weary spirit. It doesn't erase pain or failure, but it helps young people rise again after they fall. The beauty of encouragement is that it multiplies. When someone receives genuine support, they often pass it on. A young person who has been uplifted learns how to uplift others. They begin to notice those who are struggling the way they once did. They start to use their words differently, to heal, to guide, to inspire. In this way, one act of encouragement can ripple outward, touching lives far beyond the first. Encouragement is the oxygen of growth. It gives young minds the courage to take risks, to ask questions, to dream beyond what seems possible. It tells them that even when the path is unclear, they're not walking it alone. And when that realization settles in, they no longer wait for permission to shine. They begin to light their own way, carrying with them the voices that once told them they could. When we choose to invest our time, our energy, and our hearts in the next generation, we are doing more than helping young people succeed. We are building a legacy that stretches beyond our years, beyond our names, beyond our individual accomplishments. Compassion and guidance are not temporary acts, they are seeds planted in the soil of time, growing into something far larger than ourselves. Every society is judged not by its wealth, but by what it leaves behind for those who come next. If we raise a generation that is driven only by competition, they may achieve much, but they will also struggle to connect, to heal, to unite. But if we raise them with compassion, with a deep sense of purpose and care for others, they will not only succeed, they will elevate everyone around them. And the most powerful part of this truth is that legacies built on compassion never truly end. They continue to move through time, pass from teacher to student, parent to child, mentor to mentee. The lessons we plant in one generation bloom in the next. One act of guidance today may inspire an act of leadership 50 years from now. One kind word to a struggling young person may lead to a lifetime of service, empathy, and hope. This is how the world changes, not in a single moment, but in countless quiet ones, carried forward by those who were once shown love when they needed it most. My friends, as we look to the road ahead, let us remember that the future is not something we wait for. It's something we build together. Every young person we guide, every word of encouragement we speak, every act of compassion we offer becomes a brick in the foundation of a brighter tomorrow. The question before us is not whether the next generation will be ready, but whether we will do our part to prepare them, to lift them higher than we ever stood, to help them see farther than we ever could. Let us be the mentors who listen, the teachers who inspire, the parents who believe, and the citizens who care. Let us choose to lead not with fear, but with faith. Faith in our youth, faith in our communities, and faith in the timeless truth that love, guidance, and support can transform the world. Because when we invest in our young people, we are not just shaping their destiny, we are safeguarding our own. And one day when they look back, they will not remember our titles, our wealth, or our power. They will remember that we cared. They will remember that we believed. They will remember that when the world seemed uncertain, someone stood beside them and said, "You can." That is how we build bright futures, not through grand promises, but through everyday acts of love and guidance that echo across generations. So let us begin now. Let us be the light that helps others shine. And together, let us build a future worthy of the dreams of every young heart.